Welcome everybody to another great endurance training ride. We're starting out pretty much right between Fort Collins and Loveland, and heading south into Loveland, where we'll be making a quick stop for the Colorado Community Bike Festival, bike tour, sorry. And we'll fuel up there a little bit, get our t-shirt and water bottle. But for right now, we're going to enjoy this wonderful day and just slowly cruise through the subdivision. And just following the gear ratio a little bit. Got a little climb, but our heart rate is pretty low, So let's keep the cadence nice and gentle. And let's get a nice warm up going. Get our heart rate into the aerobic zone. And we'll be slowly increasing our cadence as the ride matures. But right now we'll kind of taking a easy pace. And this is an endurance ride, so let's not forget to pace ourselves accordingly. It's a 3-hour video, and accomplishing this workout in one sitting is very possible. It's not horribly difficult. You'll definitely get your saddle time in, and we'll have a real nice adventure where we'll be raising our heart rate up, going through some really cool parts of town, and encountering other cyclists on the way. We'll be getting in some climbs, and but for the first part, for the first hour or so, it's mostly flat. So here our cadence is jumping up a bit, but we're in an easy gear. So let's get used to a higher cadence here. So keep it in a nice low resistance and get our cadence up around 90 to 100. But our heart rate is only 69%, so adjust your cadence accordingly. And right turn here. Add a little resistance, keeping the cadence up. Let's just get used to that higher rhythm. Once we get out of the burbs, we'll add a little bit more effort. But right now we're just enjoying the neighborhood and the view. Sorry, I can't be too much more enthusiastic. Gentle hill climb. Getting our heart rate right around 75%. And still got a decent cadence, around 90. Stop sign here. Gently roll through. Okay, we're on the road, so we're going to pump it up just a bit here. A little heavier gear. Now, and high cadence. Now, if you're on a spin bike, you're going to see a lot of gear changes, a lot of changes in resistance and cadences. And it's a little tricky to keep up with everything. So just make those changes softly, gently, unless I specify increases in resistance, where you'll need to just make those changes quickly. One thing you'll notice is the cadence will drop to 0. If you're on a spin bike, you shouldn't do that. Just go into a soft pedal, let the flywheel carry your legs around a little bit. But don't make any sudden changes in cadence unless we're going into a sprint, in which case I will point that out, and you're going to need to make those changes real quickly. But otherwise, gentle changes on the resistance and the spin resistance is basically a 1 is a real soft pedal, real low resistance, and a 10 you should be really working the gears to turn over. Shouldn't be letting the flywheel carry your legs at all. Once you stop pedaling, that flywheel should stop turning. So in most cases, if we're a 10 out of 10, you'll be out of the saddle and really cranking hard. So a 5 or a 4 is basically a flat road, slight tailwind, high cadence, fairly easy, just enough to keep our heart rate at around 80%. Watch that cadence. Let's start lifting the cadence up a bit, keeping around 100. As we just move along through the country back roads of Fort Collins, Loveland. Nice tempo here. Low resistance, high tempo. Heart rate should be mid 70s, low 80s. Yeah, we're slowly coming to a stop sign. I'm gonna coast through. And a little climb here, so add some resistance. Feel a little resistance in our legs. As we work our way up it and over, and take some off. And back to a nice spin cadence, keeping that cadence up there. 100 plus. And let's get in our drops here. Enjoy the view of the lake. And the road is gradually getting steeper. Cadence is dropping a bit, just a little, as we get up this small hill. Let's add some resistance. 7 out of 10. Cadence is nice, or not too high. That is just enough of a kick to get our heart rate up over 80. Now, if you're on a trainer, on a bike, watch those gear changes and just make those gear changes right away. It really adds a realism to the ride. And we're coming to another stop. Soft pedaling. And that 7 is just our acceleration from the slow. And we'll take off. Some resistance right away. Gentle climb. Keeping our cadence around 90 RPMs. And let's get in our drops and get our heart rate up to 80%. Increase that cadence. Should be up over 100. Keeping it at 100. Heart rate should be low 80s. Nice and steady. Be getting a good sweat going here. Let's plow forward. Stay in those drops. Get used to that position. If you're uncomfortable in the drops, it's either because your bike might not be adjusted properly, or your gut is just too big and your quads are slamming into it. That's okay. We're going to work on that. In the drops, we're working a little harder for air as we're compressing our diaphragm. So our heart rate and our breath rate should accelerate. It's okay. And out. Get comfortable. Open up. Heart rate should be in the low 80s. You see that cadence hasn't dropped much below 90. A lot of the ride is going to be like this. If you start getting sore, come out of the saddle a little bit. There's not a lot of standing in this first part, as there's really no climbs. So stand up and take a breather where you want. Stretch out a little bit. Remember, our most important goal is our heart rate. So if that gear ratio is too low for you, add some resistance if you have it on your trainer. Some have variable resistance. You might want to adjust that. If you're working too hard, then you can take off resistance. Great. Notice our cadence has dropped and our resistance has gone up. And back to 100 on the cadence. So if you can't get that heart rate up and you're spinning like crazy and you don't have resistance on your trainer, use a different gear. Heart rate is most important. Especially on the endurance rides, heart rate is key because we're trying to discipline ourselves to understanding what it feels like in different heart rate zones, so we don't go too hard off the bat. But at the same time, we're trying to train our ability to endure the long ride. And we're enduring high cadences or high effort levels for a while. Here we're going to coast a little bit. Soft pedal as we're looking for the start of the ride. This is a real nice spot to get out of the saddle, stretch out a little bit, take a drink of water. This is level in Colorado. Elevation's about 5,400 feet. And turning around here. Okay, here's the start of the Community Classic Bike Tour, as evident by the giant banner which reads "Start." We're going to stop here and take a short chat. Somebody's saying, "What's that camera on your bike?" And here's where we're at on the map. We just came clear down here. And let's start rolling out of here. Now for a ways, we'll be on a bike path. And that's the route of the tour. I'm not crazy about the bike path. It's kind of windy and it's real busy. And we'll be on it for about 15-20 minutes. And we'll be taking a little easier here. As you can see by the lower graph, you can see all the green in front of that black line. And you start seeing the orange coming up. And that's really the start of the ride, the harder part anyway, as we get onto the country roads and we can really start moving. Along this path here, it might be tricky to follow the cadence and gear ratios and heart rates and everything because it's changing all the time. But just do your best, because this is the way the bike ride goes. And a lot of this you can leave up to your discretion. Let's just try to match the heart rate. In a few places we'll be jumping it up a little bit. So let's just keep this ride as real as possible, because you never know what you're going to encounter when you're on a 60-mile bike ride. That's the beauty of the virtual reality part of the training program. So I'm not going to give it all away. One thing to note too, the cadence which you're reading, it does take the computer a little while to sense the new cadence, so it may not seem right all the time. So I don't expect you to just always be matching cadence. Just try to get a feel of the road here. And there's a cut there where I broke my chain. We're just a little further down that bike path, back on the road. took about 2 hours to change the chain. So the sun is a bit higher now. We're still in Loveland, getting into the suburbs. And as a result, there's not a lot of other people on the route, on the course. We'll run into a few. There's a shorter route which goes out to the end of the bike path and back. So we'll be seeing a few people coming back. Yeah, there's more bike path up ahead. And let's soft pedal, come to a stop here. And pedal. Usually when the video pauses or bike stops, the resistance will jump up for a second until we hit our speed and then back down. And as we establish our cadence and our rhythm, sorry, another pause in the action here as I make a phone call to my wife. Let her know I'm late because I broke a chain. So this is another good place to get out of the saddle and stretch. And just enjoy the view. Enjoy this low 65% heart rate, because it'll get harder and you'll be wishing that you were taking it easy. Now, endurance training is all about pacing yourself and understanding that you really don't have to go balls to the walls at the start of the ride, as a lot of people do. As a matter of fact, I just got back from a 50-mile ride, and I was with a group I've never met before. They were really nice. But I think one of the guys had something to prove. And every single climb, he was attacking it, trying to get up to the front. And as we slowly brought him back in, he's huffing and puffing, wheezing. And I kept saying to myself, he's just not going to make it. So we got another 45 miles left. And sure enough, at about mile 30, he was completely bonked. Had nothing left. And luckily, another friend drove by and gave him a ride back to home. It was funny because he kept saying, I don't feel so good today. And I kept saying, stop going so fast, slow down. But then, I just didn't want to chase him anymore. Well, we're back on the Loveland Trail. And this trail is actually continuous. All the way almost to where the ride started today. And take your rollerblades. Nice way to cross train. See all the gear changes, stopping at the stop sign, avoiding other bikes, kids on strollers. You see it all. Let's just keep our cadence in the 90s. Unless you see the 0, in which case just soft pedal. Our heart rate will be jumping around 65 to 75 maybe. A good warm-up will make you much stronger. And we're just gonna accelerate here. We got a nice open path, so that's what I'm doing. A little bigger gear. Slowing down. Safety first. And all these changes in effort is actually really good for you. Little short intervals, just getting your legs used to working a little harder and then letting them recover. Here's another stretch where we're fairly clear path. Add a little speed. Heart rate's picking up a bit. And we're slowing down. And if you're on a spin bike, a resistance of 3 is probably pretty good until we get off the path. Pick it up just a little here. Nice open view. Now this ride is about 60 miles. Which is not horrible. Too long to take it lightly, but not long enough to make a bunch of rests and eat a lunch. And so we're gonna ride this one all the way through with no stops. Now besides, we had that 2-hour bike chain ordeal, and so running late, so we're gonna actually need to pick up the tempo and get this ride over with pretty soon. Now let's pick up the pace just a bit. That cadence up. Watch out for the child. Pick it up a bit here. Cadence up to 100. Slowing it up. Nice steady tempo. Slowing down. Warm-up is almost over. You can see the effort profile just ahead is a bit higher, mid-80s. And you can see how steady that effort is. So we're really going to be training ourselves to maintain a nice constant heart rate, a nice steady level of effort that we can endure for a long time. And you can also see that the ride's about half over. That's where we were. This is where we went. There's the path. And we're coming out on the highway. And there we are. So, let's add some resistance. You might want to shake it off a little bit. Okay, this is where it gets fun and very pretty as we get into the farmlands of South Loveland, exiting the city limits pretty soon here. Keeping that cadence respectable. And getting in the drops too. Heart rate should just get right back up. We'll be shooting for about 85%. '86. So there won't be a lot of gear changes. Nice steady effort. And we'll be really training our anaerobic capacity here. And this is where we're burning a lot of food, a lot of water. So make sure you drink. Still working on a pretty good cadence, 95. Heart rate, mid-80s. It starts out painful, but just keep doing it. And soon it'll feel totally normal. We just spent a long time below our anaerobic threshold. And as soon as we go anaerobic, our body is pretty miserable. And once our muscles start manufacturing triphosphates, we'll feel better soon. And we'll get that endorphin rush. The pain will subside. This is just a temporary dip in effort. Let's get our cadence back up. Now let's just sustain. Got a beautiful view of the Rocky Mountains in front of us as we're going straight west and catching up. Let's pick that cadence up. Working on training our muscles to spin smoothly. If you're bouncing in the saddle, that's a flexibility issue. So you might want to try stretching. And also we're teaching our fast twitch muscles to synchronize. If you can be smooth at high cadences, you're going to look really good on the road. And you can really preserve your leg strength for fast accelerations, big climbs. So right now we're putting all the effort on our heart. Turning here. And when you see that cadence drop, we'll be transferring that energy and effort to our legs, where we'll be working larger muscle groups, more core, speaking of core, a lot of cyclists have distended abdominals as a result of breathing techniques, trying to stay relaxed in order to get as much air as we can. Staying in the drops does help us tuck that in a bit and strengthen our core abdominals. So let's get in our tucks or drops here. Let's focus on sucking in our gut and breathing in our chest. So pull your belly button back to your spine. Keep the cadence up. Little climb here. Cadence is going to drop. And it levels out here. So let's work on our breathing. Don't breathe with your diaphragm. Suck in your gut. Breathe in with your chest. You're going to find breathing is much more difficult. Breathing should increase. Focus on maintaining that heart rate. Now we're starting a little climb here. You can see in the hill profile. But it's not significant. Each time you breathe out, try sucking in the gut a little bit more. Once we get to the climbs, we'll be working on a little different breathing technique called opening your mouth and trying to suck in as much air as you can. For now, we got a great cadence going. Perfect heart rate. Do this all day. Notice the cadence dropped a little, but we add a little resistance. And let's take some resistance off as we have a short break here, a little descent. Just rest our heart rate down a bit. Keeping up the cadence. And soft pedal. Stretch it out a bit. And we're going to start pedaling here. Back up. Lifting our cadence and our resistance. Get our heart rate back up. Beginning up to about 87 as we go up another little hill. Add some resistance. Cadence around 90. Heart rate should be jumping back up. Should be feeling the hill. Positive resistance. Not a 59, but a 7. Crank over wrist. Come on. Keep that cadence up. Shoot for 88%. Come on. Cadence is almost 100 here. Let's go. Let your heart rate come down just slowly here as we keep that cadence going and just take off a little resistance. In the drops. Focus on sucking in the belly button. Cadence nice and high here. Let's go. I'll turn here to the right, I believe. Oh, nope, that's for the shorter ride. Okay. Sit up and relax your abdomen. Keep that cadence up. Pretty easy gear, high cadence. Save our legs for the climb. And a little pause there. Back to a small climb. Keeping our cadence nice and high. Keep that cadence going. Heart rate should go back up. And over the top. And let's get in the drops again. Suck in the gut. Pull that navel to your spine. Each exhalation, try to pull it in a little bit deeper. and rest, or sit up. But keep pedaling. A little climb. Don't let the cadence drop below 90. Watch the heart rate. Hammer it if you have to, but get it up there. I'll rest a little bit here. Soft pedal. Stretch it out and lift it back up. Now we're going to make a run for the mountains. Notice the gear is a little higher, cadence is a little lower. And we lift it back up. A little climb here. Yeah, just keep in mind when you're at altitude, we're at about 5,300 feet. The heart rate is a bit higher than if we were at sea level. So if you're at sea level and you're lifting that heart rate up, more power to you, man. That's tough. It takes a lot of extra work to get your heart rate up, and those changes happen slowly on the way up, and as soon as you stop pedaling, heart rate should just fall. Whereas up here, the reverse is true. Changes in effort, heart rate shoots up real fast as we increase effort, and the heart rate goes down much slower as we take off effort. You got to work pretty hard to get anaerobic down there. Little downhill here. So we're keeping the cadence nice and high, but we're not working hard. Oh gear. It's flattening out here. And we'll start climbing again. Yeah, we're starting a slow climb. Just getting our big ring up front. You're on your trainer or spin bike. 7 out of 10. Should be feeling nice positive resistance. Pushing down with each pedal stroke. And we got a nice climbing cadence, about 80, 90. Heart rate's gonna go into the low 90s. So you guys at sea level, start working at it. And you can see we're getting there. Now look at the cadence. Keep your heart rate up. If you got it over 86, leave it there. 88, 89 is good. Nice climbing gear. Keeping that cadence around 90. Keeping the heart rate up. In here, we're really working on the larger muscle group in the legs and bottom. Give your legs a break here. And back up. Big gear, climbing gear. Cadence again, 80 to 90. Heart rate in the high 80s, low 90s. So we're gonna slowly lift our effort. And finish disc one, a nice little surge. Still in a good climbing gear. I always use climbing gear as a reference to your cadence between 80 and 90 and feeling positive resistance. So, spin bikes, you shouldn't be feeling the flywheel pulling your legs over. You should be pushing. A little heavier gear as we get it to the tough part here. Watch your cadence. It's down a bit. Your cadence, let's drop into a bigger gear. And 10 out of 10 out of the saddle. Heart rate's not right. There we go. Should be about 90. Come on. Back in the saddle. Let's get the quads into gear. Keep them fired up. All right, it's going up. Keep that pressure on. All those carrots, come on. Get after them. Let's get into the red zone, guys. Come on, let's go. Here we go. Stay fired up. Let's go. Ten out of 10. Out of the saddle. Let's go. Push it. Stay on that wheel. Get back down. Quads and butt. Let's go. Resistance coming down. Keeping the pressure on. And back up. Almost there. Let's go. If you're not at 93%, go harder. Kill your legs. Come on. You're in the mountains. Almost there. Get ready to hop out of the saddle, put in disc 2, and keep it going. See you on disc 2. Don't warm down. Go.